I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Senator Tina Smith grilled FDA Commissioner Robert Califf during a Senate Health Committee hearing last week. The hearing focused on the infant formula shortage the U.S. is currently facing. The crisis was spurred by COVID-related supply chain issues and a recall of Abbott baby formula. Smith pointed out that the Minnesota Department of Health was the first to discover issues at an Abbott facility, but the FDA did not take action for months. The Minnesota Democrat asked the commissioner if this was the standard process or if something went wrong. Listen in for his response.
Welcome, Dr. Califf. So the Minnesota Department of Health was the first to link the foodborne illness to the powdered infant formula manufactured at the Abbott Nutrition Facility in Sturgis, Michigan in September of 2021. And they informed the CDC and the FDA of that link in September. That infected Minnesota baby survived but was hospitalized for 22 days. And as we all know, the FDA did not initiate an inspection of the Sturgis facility until January 21st, which led to the voluntary recall and the shortages situation that we're experiencing now. So this is my question. My question is about how the FDA coordinates with state and local health departments on early detection of foodborne illnesses. Is this process that happened with the Minnesota Department of Health, is that the standard process? Did something go wrong there? What can you tell us about what that link between state health departments and the FDA is and what it should be?
Thanks for asking that question because it's really important. The minute a report comes in, usually to CDC, because that's where the reports typically come in, there is an investigation launched, and it's very intensive. You have to get to the site, you have to get the cultures if they're available, you have to interview everyone concerned, and often you need to review the medical records. And in this case, the Minnesota Health Department, from all the reports I've gotten, did a splendid job. The problem is it was one case, and it was Chronobacter positive, but Chronobacter, for example, is found in up to 15% of sponges in kitchens at home. It's a ubiquitous organism. It's not necessarily. So that case was very well documented.
And was it linked to the formula?
It was.
I mean, they suspected a link.
The infant had ingested that formula, so
right.
It was a matter of concern.
Yeah.
I'd also point out Chronobacter is not a reportable organism, and so we have banks of now DNA sequencing. If we look at the peanut butter case that just occurred, that was solved within days because we were able to link the genetics of the peanut butter and the sickness of the people, the genetics that were in the infections in those people, and the plant within days because we had the information. I think we need to do something about Chronobacter because it's a well-known, although infrequent, cause of contaminant of infant formula.
So, but are you saying that you think that the length of time that it took from when MDH, Minnesota Department of Health, issued provided this information, and when the FDA ended up, when the recall happened, is that as long as it should be according to the way your policies work? Could it be shorter? I'm trying to understand if there's something in that isn't.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to give a nuanced answer in a bit. I mean, the Minnesota Department of Health did its job in what it should have done. We had one case. You don't recall. A product unless you have a direct link that proves that the product actually caused the problem. So usually we get a cluster, as has happened in peanut butter, where a bunch of people have it at the same time. Then it's easy to make the case. In this case, we had the information and we had to wait and see what happened. Now, the time to the recall, as I've already said in my document, the more blunt answer, it was too long. We're clear about that in our documentation, and we aim to fix it.
Let me ask you about something else. This is about coordination with USDA, which is responsible, as you know, for purchasing nearly half of the infant formula in this country through the WIC program. My understanding is that the FDA didn't communicate with the USDA until around the time of the recall. I'm wondering why you think that happened. Should the FDA be working more closely with the USDA sooner, and whether you see this as an area where there could be improvements?
Well, let me divide this into two tranches. Prior to the recall, there was a lot of communication between FDA and USDA on the general supply chain issues related to infant formula. It was not about this specific case, but as I've already told you, even the leaders in FDA didn't get the information until February 9th about what was going on. That was an escalation error, as I've said, and we've documented that and are fixing that as a systemic quality problem within the FDA. And so it was shortly, as you said, the recall happened right after that. And so we were then in the detailed discussion with USDA. So there's been a supply chain, group of supply chain committees for government throughout the pandemic, and infant formula has been on the list that's been covered by the relevant agencies, including USDA.
So, Dr. Caleb, I understand that you've only been at the FDA for a short time, but I do think that you have a unique capacity because you know the agency so well and because of your industry connections to be a reformer at the FDA. And I am struck as I listen to you today about how you have been explaining what happened with regard to this supply issue as well as the health issues, rather than taking the posture of a reformer, which is what I think that we definitely need. And I do believe that you have a capacity, a unique capacity to be that reformer. I believe that this infant formula crisis is a symptom of the broader systemic structural problems with food safety and in the food division that we have at the FDA. And so I urge you to adopt that reforming posture as we move forward.
Can I comment with
Yeah, the
permission
Madam
on
Chair
that?
is not, oh,
Continue.
As we discussed in detail yesterday in the hearing, I do consider myself to be a reformer here. I knew coming in, I'd gotten multiple phone calls. I saw the problems in the food side of the FDA before. It's been massively underfunded, and what I am appearing to be maybe defensive about is I do not think castigating the FDA employees is the appropriate approach to reforming an organization. What we've got to do is to have a carefully thought out plan going forward and an after-action review of all the decisions that were made with working with people to understand what's being done. If you take beleaguered employees and castigate them in an organization that's already under stress, I don't think that's a helpful way to fix an organization. I've been involved in many such organizations, but I agree 100% with what you said. If I'm not a reformer, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't planning to come back to FDA, as you know. I would not have come back if I wasn't planning on changing it.